Two names you know, one story you didn't see coming. Liam Neeson, the guarded icon who rarely lets emotions slip past the suit jacket, and Pamela Anderson, the comeback force redefining herself on her own terms, are now the center of a rumor engine that won't power down. The question on every timeline is blunt. Are we witnessing a carefully staged promo flirtation or a quietly real romance edging into lifelong territory? Tonight, we follow the trail like reporters should. Fact first, context second, speculation clearly labeled. And we'll show you why a handful of tiny moments, from a lip balm to 7 simple hearts, turned a whirlwind press tour into a cultural Rorschach test. Stay with me because each chapter adds a new piece that changes how the last one reads. And the final picture is harder to dismiss than the loudest skeptics want to admit. Our desk can confirm this didn't start with screaming tabloid headlines. It started with a whisper, a soft focus post, a caption that felt like a note passed in class, and jewelry that eagle-eyed followers insisted wasn't part of Pamela's usual rotation. Fans screenshotted, magnified, overlaid, and debated whether those bands meant anything at all. And in the absence of an explanation, the absence became evidence. That's how social narratives form now. Not from one smoking gun, but from a collage of, that's different. Importantly, there was no correction from the source. No slow down, folks. No, don't read into this. Instead, silence. One of the most persuasive story accelerants on the internet. And when you pair strategic ambiguity with 2 A-listers already in the same promotional orbit, you create a feedback loop. Curiosity begets content. Content begets certainty. And certainty, earned or not, starts to feel like truth. But the next beat didn't arrive from a grid post. It arrived live, unedited, in front of millions. On live television, planned answers can be neat. Unplanned gestures are not. During a talk show appearance, Pamela Anderson reached for her own lip balm, then leaned over and applied it to Liam Neeson. No wink, no bit, just a domestic feeling moment that read less like a stunt and more like habit. An ordinary intimacy briefly broadcast to the world. The host, a veteran at sniffing out subtext, clocked the room and tossed the question not to the couple but to Liam's son seated in the audience. Do you approve? The response, a smiling thumbs up, fused 2 narratives at once. Not only was the chemistry undeniable, it appeared blessed by someone whose opinion would matter most. Clip posted, clip dissected, clip replayed, and as any newsroom can tell you, video beats rumor 9 times out of 10. If the first breadcrumb raised eyebrows, this one raised the stakes. Viewers didn't just believe they'd seen affection. They believed they'd seen familiarity. Next, the story picked up something rarer. A signal that felt like permission. In an age when public statements can read like legal documents, one of the most resonant messages contained no words at all. 7 red heart emojis from Jolie Richardson, Natasha Richardson's sister, left beneath an Anderson post featuring Liam. No caption, no disclaimers, just a small digital act that audiences interpreted as grace. Our responsibility here is to separate fact from inference. The hearts happened, the meaning is what people assigned. But meaning matters because it governs public sentiment, and public sentiment is the current pushing any celebrity narrative forward. Viewers who had been cautious suddenly relaxed. Journalists who had written around the grief context noted the tact. It didn't feel like theater. It felt like kindness. And when kindness shows up in a story like this, the oxygen shifts. Still, no confirmations, no statements, no rings declared. With pressure mounting, skeptics found their lane, and their argument wasn't new, just loud. Skepticism is healthy, and our team took it seriously. The showman's playbook is real. Pair the leads, spike attention, ride the wave until opening weekend. Timing alone gave critics ammo, affection unfolding right as a major promo cycle began. But the evidence didn't lock cleanly into that frame. Family visibility isn't typical in manufactured flings, and that live thumbs up from a son is a far cry from a PR-crafted wink. More telling, Anderson publicly dismissed the idea of playing silly games with her real life, insisting on privacy as a principle rather than a tactic. If you're choreographing a hoax, that's an odd choreography choice. None of this proves vows, and our newsroom won't claim it does. What it does demonstrate is a mismatch between the familiar "it's just marketing" narrative and the specific human beats unfolding here. Even so, critics doubled down, until red carpets began delivering their own kind of testimony. Press lines can be noisy, but body language cuts through. Cheek kisses lingered a beat longer than expected. Hands found hands without being asked by photographers. The smiles weren't for-the-bit smiles. They were the smaller, reflexive kind that happens when two people are comfortable in the same square foot. Major outlets describe the pair as smitten in early stage, which is notable mostly because the careful wording read like a hedge against overclaiming. What couldn't be hedged was the cumulative effect of these tiny signals. When moments stack, viewers stop asking if there's something there and start asking how far along it is. But the image that moved the needle the most wasn't intimate at all. It was simple, almost formal. 4 young men standing in one frame like a bridge built on quiet conversations the public didn't see and doesn't need to. At a New York premiere, Brandon and Dylan Lee stood beside Michael and Daniel Neeson. No theatrics. Just 4 sons, relaxed shoulders, easy grins. For a skeptical audience, this read less like spectacle and more like ordinary piece. An ordinary piece is incredibly hard to fake in show business. Again, let's be precise. A photo doesn't certify a relationship status. It does, however, certify a tone. No awkward distance, no forced pose, no sense that anyone was co-opted into a narrative they didn't sign off on. The internet trained on that still and for once, turned down its volume. Suddenly the question wasn't, is this a stunt? It was, are we late to the obvious? When you add the earlier live TV thumbs up to this frame, a storyline emerges that doesn't need a press release to make sense. That storyline set the stage for the only explanation that fits both personalities involved. Liam Neeson's public life since tragedy has been measured, dignified, and almost allergic to circus. Pamela Anderson's current era is intentional, grounded, and more about authorship than attention. Put those profiles together and you don't get a fireworks show. You get a lamp turned low in a safe room. Our analysis is straightforward. If there is a deep relationship here, it is statistically more likely to be protected than paraded. That's why fans resonated with Anderson's refusal to gamify a private bond, and why small, unplanned gestures spoke louder than any rehearsed answer. The pattern is consistent: steady proximity, unlabored warmth, no hunger to convert affection into headlines. And that pattern suggests a hypothesis reporters can state cleanly. Something is happening that doesn't require our approval, and won't chase it. Which brings us to the line between what we know and what we merely suspect. Here's the ledger. Verified. On-screen partnership. Affectionate public moments. A now-famous lip balm clip. A supportive seeming emoji note from a family member, long associated with care and caution. And repeated refusals to feed PR game narratives. Unverified. Any talk of vows, ceremonies, rings with provenance, or legal status. Reasonable inference. A close personal relationship that both parties appear to protect, with families that aren't treating it like a bit. Cultural reality. In the vacuum left by no official statement, audiences will write their own love story until proven wrong. Our job is to keep the lanes clear, facts in one, feelings in another, while acknowledging why this particular mystery is sticky. It offers renewal after grief, redefinition after objectification, and the rare sight of 2 people looking genuinely at ease together. If a confirmation arrives, we'll report it. Until then, the smartest read is also the calmest one. This looks less like a stunt and more like 2 adults choosing quiet over noise, and letting the rest of us argue over the soundtrack.